Hey everyone, how's it going? It's Dan Russo, Chief Market Strategist here at Chaikin Analytics. Tuesday, early afternoon, wanted to come to you with some updated thoughts here as we get a little bit deeper into the week. A little bit of a bumpy day yesterday and back and forth trading today. Hard to get a clear message from what's going on in the day-to-day trading, which is always why we like to zoom out a little bit. Now, from some of the stuff that I've been reading, some of the people that I follow, whose work I admire and read at least weekly or follow on different social media platforms. From what I've been seeing, trying to call a top here is becoming fashionable. A lot of people are pointing to what happened over the weekend with Bitcoin falling over 25%, an 8% or so pullback in Tesla yesterday. As signs of risk off, right? And they are pointing to kind of the usual suspects of frothiness in the market. Our work actually shows us that some of the frothiness has been skimmed off the top of the market. But you still see some, for lack of a better description, silly movements out there. SPACs are still all the rage. I am told, based on some people with whom I speak, that it is in fact different this time, that it's kind of public market VC. And the companies that are being taken over in these SPAC deals are actually quality companies, as opposed to the last time SPACs were popular, when it tended to be lesser quality companies that would use the SPAC route to kind of circumvent the traditional IPO route, with the thought being that they weren't good enough businesses to stand up to the IPO process. Maybe it's different this time, maybe it's not. It's working, it's a theme. Once the deals are announced, there's plenty of information where you can go out and decide for yourself, which is, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't doing it. I do it. There's some people out there that seem to be pretty talented at finding good businesses, so I'm following them. And when a deal gets announced, I will read up on the company that's being taken over. And if it's interesting to me, I'll maybe make a small investment for myself. And I've been doing that, and that's been successful so far. So we'll see how long that lasts. But bigger picture, back to the market for the trends. I think it's tough to call the top. I think a lot of people like to do it. It gets attention. Maybe people will forget when you're wrong. But more often than not, the market makes new highs, right? Once a new high is achieved, it tends to continue to make new highs until it doesn't, right? It's only that last new high that isn't followed by a subsequent new high, right? So right away, the odds are against you. Let's start there. Number two, intermarket work does not point to a top being in place. It just doesn't. We've talked about this for the past few weeks. Whether you look at treasuries, they are under pressure across timeframes. Whether you look at short-term treasuries via an ETF like IEI, whether you look at the intermediate-term treasuries, which are more in line with the 10-year via something like IEF, or go out longer term, 20 years plus to TLT, which I highlight in my note for clients today, they're under pressure. Rates are moving higher, and the yield curve is continuing to steepen. It's been one of the reasons that we've been bullish on financials. But let's say you're not looking at the treasury market. Let's say you are strictly stock focused and you think I'm crazy to even bring up treasuries. That's fine. You're entitled to your opinion. There's information to be gained in the equity market as well. My sector work today, which I do every Tuesday, I look at the major sectors of the S&P 500 and how they're doing from a trend perspective relative to the S&P 500. And what jumps out at me for the third week in a row now, maybe more, is the just underperformance, massive underperformance of the quote unquote defensive sectors of the market, the bond proxies like utilities and real estate, as well as consumer staples, right? If the defensive areas of the market are underperforming the broader market, and kind of caveat this with the broader market's in an uptrend, which it is, it's hard for me to make the case that a top is in. I can't make that case. I can't get there when I connect the dots that make sense to me. Could I be missing something? Of course I could be missing something. Nobody's perfect. But I don't think I am, right? Because I'm looking at those sectors. I'm looking at the fixed income markets, which are not showing any signs of stress at this point. I'm looking at gold, right? Inflation is a theme. We've been talking about it. Commodity prices are going higher. Take a look at oil. Take a look at base metals like copper and steel. Take a look at the ags, which I have been pounding the table on since the summer. They're moving higher. You know what's not moving higher within the commodity complex? The haven, gold. Gold's not moving higher. Gold's under pressure. So again, another data point that leads me to believe we're not at a top in the equity market. For us, we've been using SPY as a trigger. As long as SPY is above 340, which translates into 3,400 on the index, I think you're playing for 4130 to the upside. That's been my view for, I feel like I'm saying the same thing over and over again, but it hasn't changed. So I'm not going to change it just to change for the sake of change. So continue with a bullish stance. Small caps continue to outperform. Defensive areas of the market continue to underperform. Tech is actually at an inflection point. We touch on this in my note today. I urge you to check out my note. Head over to chaikinanalytics.com to see, if you don't get the note, how you can take a trial and receive it for a couple of weeks. Tech is at a really important inflection point right now, and I think it's going to resolve higher, largely because semiconductors have been outperforming. My work there has been important, as well as software. So those are my thoughts today on a Tuesday afternoon in what is now the middle of January. We're halfway through the first month of the new year. So hope everybody is well. Be well, be safe. I'll be back soon with another update. Talk to you then.